You are currently the only person in this conference. You are currently the only person in this conference.
Hey Gareth. Yeah, probably should get started actually. Assume you can hear me. Yeah, I need to do another choice activity for favourite assistant. Although I'm suspecting Amy Pond might win that one as well. But, actually, that's probably going to be a closer competition. Just thinking about it. All right. I might get started. I didn't know if there'd be anybody in here or not. Let me share my video very quickly. I think it's always better having a face to a name. So I'll turn it off when I get going. So let me introduce myself because I'm one of the iMoot facilitators. So and the other one who on at the moment, we're taking with teams of 2 at any one time is Jim. You can I should probably lean the other way. See behind me, and he's facilitating the other session. She's waving now. So yeah. That's who's in this room. All right, I might turn my camera off because I suspect it's going to affect the bandwidth. Oh, okay. I'm happy to keep it on if you want to see my face. Sure. Okay, I'll do that. If there's any audio issues, let me know. That's all. Cool. Okay, let me get started. Let me talk over slide there, just while I talk. I just thought that was a very funny slide. Right, first of all, I hope everyone's enjoying iMoot as well. We're going to have a wrap-up session in the very final session. I don't know if it's on the schedule yet, but it'll be on there at some point. So we'll finish with a wrap-up session where we actually get some feedback about what's happened, and there's the forums anyway. So get involved. It would be good to improve it. Personally, I think this is probably the best iMoot so far, and for all sorts of reasons. I think we've learned from past mistakes. I think Fred and his team from Blindside Networks have done a great job just managing Big Blue Button. So thank you to them. Let me get going now with this session. We had a couple of people pull out, and usually as one of the iMoot facilitators, I do a lot of the background work just dealing with servers during iMoot, so I'm usually not involved in presenting, but I think just about every year I've done one session just as a filler. And this year I got asked to do one, and I was going to do it on the roles, but I saw Vinny Stocker had already done that, it's one of my pet topics. So I thought I'd just do a fun one because there seem to be a lot of nerdy people around and a lot of Doctor Who things. So just doing this more as a fun session, and really I'm just asking questions. So yeah, I know there's only a few of us. So I think it's one of those times during the iMoot where it's just really low numbers. But hopefully some others will join us eventually. So let me move on. Yeah, Gareth, yeah, sure. Go for it. Anyone who's been to, I run training sessions in Australia, and anyone who's been to mine know I usually end up on Doctor Who, Star Trek, Stargate, or funnily enough, the Wiggles, which for Australians especially, you'll know who the Wiggles are. It's a children's group with 4 male singers, and although it's changed, they've actually got a female in there now, just because I have 2 young kids, so it's very much a topic I know. But sure, if you can chuck in some Red Dwarf quotes or whatever, that's good with me. Let me get going. My official disclaimers. I have a few slides here. I pretty much pilfered them from Google searches without any regard to copyright, so I apologise for that. And I've researched my ideas from various sources. I was thinking mixed metaphors. We could do mixed quotes, couldn't we? I'm tired. It's 2 a.m. in the morning here. My brain's only at a minimal level, and I've put a lot of questions in here just to get feedback on things. So, please join in. Please help me. All right. A bit about me. That's me, and that's not me. That's all the doctors. I was trying to think all the different roles I do. As everyone has different roles, you know, we all do. I was a high school teacher, actually, for a few years. That's where I kind of started out as my profession. Actually, I started out doing a physics degree, and what did you do with that? And I ended up with a physics, maths, IT degree, and I thought I might as well go be a teacher. And yeah, so I went out and taught high school maths and science teacher. I was a researcher at a university, at the same time as Martin, actually same university, and at the same time as he was the webmaster out at Curtin University, and when he started his research doing Moodle. So, and I knew him before that anyway, just through some other projects and so on. These days I'm a developer, consultant, manager here at Pukunui. On the side I'm a musician, a nerdy type person, tinkerer, husband, father, so all of those roles keep me very busy. I put on the side there, you'll see these little badges. Badgers. So there are some extra badges for this course. I've only got one of them hooked up to the course right now. I've just completely run out of time, but I will add them. So for you guys who are in this session, there you go. You know there's going to be at least 5 badges. And they're related to one of my slides coming up. So I'll move on to that. By the way, if you want to grab the mic and ask me questions at any point, please do, and type in the chat. I thought I'd start with this. This is more the serious one. Martin's 5 laws. So for those who don't know, Moodle has that whole pedagogy behind it, called social constructionism, is what it's based on. And actually hearing some good presentations, this iMoot, and almost in the way of challenging some of those assumptions. I think Ian Doherty's keynote was actually very good. It kind of put that in perspective. But these were Martin's 5 laws, and or we call them Martin's 5 laws. And basically, oh, your slide's not updating. Joshua might need to do just a, maybe refresh the browser. Oh, he's gone. I'm guessing that's what he's doing. Hey Joshua, I hope you should be on Martin's 5 laws right now. Hey, cool. Does that mean you missed my funny one at the start? The protester. Just for you, I'm going to flip back there because I just think it's an awesome slide. Martin's 5 laws, they're the 5 laws around the... Oh, okay. Well, it's probably the important one anyway. Let me move forward. So just those 5 things. Martin's actually done a paper on it. I won't go into it just because of time. But he's talked about how the different Moodle activities and how they fit into that. And it does explain why there are some activities in Moodle, and some different features, and some that aren't, that actually would be quite good. Martin's very good at keeping all the developers on track with that, and just and I guess the features in Moodle as well. And anyway, you can read more about it. I've got a link at the end about where Martin fleshes all of that out a bit more and how it applies to Moodle. So, and that's the background of where Moodle came from his PhD project. Was actually, Moodle was really the research tool he was doing about that he used to see how people learn online. And so he was looking at social constructionism and so on. So let me move on. I then thought, well, I can ask the question of what can we learn from Doctor Who? And as I said, this is just a fun session. And it's probably a lot more than we have time for here. So I picked 5 things, and I Googled lessons from Doctor Who on the web, and there's so many people have done these different lists. And now that I've actually put some slides together, I'm thinking, you know what, I might actually go to a proper presentation on this, flesh this out a bit more and write it up. But you guys are my test. So, number 1, just going through this, the same person, different faces. So there's should be 11 doctors in there. There is. So the 11 doctors. Oh, I've discovered there is a 12th actor though, who replaced the first Doctor, because he died when they did a reunion special. Got the names anyway. So same person, different faces. So the question then I had for Moodle is, how can we use Moodle to embrace the different aspects of each person? So I thought, just like myself, I have different roles, and your students will actually have different things they do in life. And how can we use Moodle to embrace the different aspects of each person? I don't know. Thoughts. There was, different activities. I was just thinking, the forum's always a good one because you can ask different questions and you can really pick them out of people. It's always good to have people's profiles because sometimes they write a bit more in there and encourage your students. I don't know, ideas. What ideas have you guys got? Hey, Carrie. Carrie, you're most welcome to turn your mic on and just talk, because I know you have a severe injury, a bit hard to type. So please feel free to check your mic on and talk too. That goes for all you guys. I'm quite happy for talk. But the question is, I was just asking, go for it, Gareth.
Yeah, hi Shane. I mean, I think Moodle is being a tool. It's going to provide things that everybody can engage with. So you're not going to use all the facilities, but there should be facilities, for people who are kinesthetic, for all the different learning types. As long as there is a facility with the Moodle for each person that suits them, then that's the positive thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think there's a good discussion in one of the sessions I saw. I think you're in that. I can't remember, but one of the things is I think you'll ever use every tool that's in Moodle for a particular course anyway. Yeah, but in this case, I guess I'm getting at if you want to pull out those different aspects. So for me, as an example, I'm a musician, but how would you pull that out of someone? What tools could you use in Moodle?
I mean, that I would have thought using Audacity, saying, record your voice, record your music, maybe use the Moodle, the YouTube upload, or the, post as a part of an assignment or resource or something like that.
Yeah.
Could, for example, you could say, I'm going to post my music on SoundCloud and embed SoundCloud within my profile.
So posting as part of an assignment. What else did you say? It was kind of...
SoundCloud, I've put it on my course, and you can, put stuff on SoundCloud Music and that, but it has a really nice embedding thing that you can embed an iframe. So that, you can automatically put that into a course, you could put it into a label. I don't know, you could probably put it into your profile, and it uses a bit of JavaScript, and it put contact, blah, 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 and puts in a nice little player, perhaps. So everybody, creates, create a theme tune for yourself, or an introduction, or, mini CV.
Oh, awesome. I like it.
Oh, yeah, actually, I remember back in 1.9 when I was teaching, what I did was I found myself repeating the same thing over and over again in lessons, and all the students were at different stages. So what I did was I actually recorded myself talking them through. Did mini screencasts and mini podcasts, not necessarily my face, but because I knew it was a girls' school and they would take my face and doctor it and everything would go all over the web, and horrible. But I recorded myself saying, no, you need to click on this, talking to them. So I did mini sort of podcasts of explaining what to do. So instead of me in the classroom saying, do this, and repeating, me getting a dry throat, saying the same thing over again, that's they could listen to the thing on Moodle and use headphones and stuff.
Mm.
Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah, of course.
I have, and I haven't really played with it too much, but I have a music teacher who we're trying, in the States we're doing this whole big thing, at least in New York, with what's called APPR, and it's teacher evaluation, and it's a nightmare. And everything is linked to it, and they have to create what's called an SLO, it's a student learning objective. And it's been this whole big process. And they have to document everything that the teachers are doing and the students are doing right now. So my music teachers, they have to find a way to track their improvement on every area across the curriculum. So a director of music was asking me, he's trying to figure out how to use rubrics and having the students in his music department play a piece of music, if it's the trumpet, whatever. They play excuse me, I'm not functioning very well, that. They play a track. I'm using the word track. I'm sorry, I can't get anything out. But they play something, record it, upload it into Moodle, and then use the rubric kind of to give them a grade, and then have them play the same track the second half of the year. Am I making sense so far?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm a little clouded. So if we are able to do something like that, now we were trying to play with that option where you can upload audio files. We installed a module at one point, and I don't know if it's in 2.0. 2.5. We installed a module so that this way we would be able to upload audio files easily from the Moodle interface. And it worked for a little while, but we didn't really play with it too much. I think it was the recording assignment. I did notice, I think that from an iPhone or an iPad, you can upload audio better than you can from the Moodle site. Is that correct? Do you know if that's right?
Well, if you're using the HTML5 app, I've got the name of it now, Moodle app, something like that. The mobile app, sorry. Mobile Moodle. It's basically designed to use the features of the mobile device. It's not meant to be a replacement for Moodle, because you can use the browser on the device, but the app itself is designed to use the recording and all of those features that come with the different devices. Yeah, and then it links into your private files area, so you can upload them.
So that might be a better option for us, is using the mobile app rather than hoping that Moodle will eventually have an easier way without installing a plugin to upload a audio file.
Honestly, I think there's actually I'm getting lost for words. It's here too. I think there's a need for both, actually. It just depends on how you're running your course. Yeah.
I remember there was Nanogong. We really wanted something like that, Nanogong, but we couldn't get Nanogong working correctly. Do you know if there's any?
We've installed on quite a lot of sites. It's Jim behind me is probably the man who knows more about the different versions and how it gets working. But we have installed on various sites. Works quite okay, actually.
We had some trouble. I'm wishing that would become kind of like a core piece, because one of the other things that I'd like to do is I like to connect my students with students in other countries. So I have Spanish-speaking students here. Well, they're English students who are learning Spanish as a second language. And I like to connect with the class in a Spanish-speaking country. Maybe they're learning English and we used to do pen pals, but maybe instead of pen pals, in like a forum type format where they are speaking in Spanish and the other class is speaking back in English, and a teacher would be able to then go in and look at their conversations back and forth between each other by recording. I think that would be something really cool.
That's cool, and that actually comes back to my question there too, because that's one of the things I just wrote there, connect with other users with similar interests. There's ways to do that in Moodle as well. Cool. Well, I might move on. That's okay. So I was just saying, Carrie, you came a bit late. I'm just going through I've got 5 Doctor Who lessons to better learn. That was number 1. It's just that, same person, different faces, and just that every person has different aspects of their lives. So I was wondering how we can use Moodle to capture that. My next one, just moving on for time. Loads up. Doing the journey with others is important. Just the idea the Doctor has different companions with him. I like that David Tennant photo. That's all. All the ones, putting John Barrowman in there too. And the Amy quote I just found funny. That was all. So I just watched that episode again the other day. But doing the journey with others is important, and that actually does tie in with one of Martin's 5 laws as well. He puts it that we're all potential teachers as well as learners, and in a truly collaborative environment, we're both. So the idea is in Moodle, you are constantly trying to get people to collaborate together. And so there's good examples of that. I mean, again, I'm asking the question underneath. So, that's Billy Piper. Is that who you're talking about? Yeah. Probably my favourite companion, actually, to answer your question before, right at the beginning. I didn't know that. There you go. Actually, I've got a really good piece of trivia right at the end. As an ask me, I forgot to put it in the slides that I was meaning to. So how can we use Moodle to collaborate? That was my next question. What tools are there in Moodle that help us collaborate? And there's some really obvious ones. I can even start typing those now. The forum is probably the most obvious one. The wiki, workshop. There's all these tools, but I don't know, what other ideas have people had in terms of collaborating? They seem to be really obvious ones, but other ideas? How do you get people collaborating in your Moodle course? Yeah, good point, Carrie. Shared concept mapping, I guess there's the mind map tool that people refer to, and the wiki does some of it, but certainly some other good tools outside of Moodle do it very well. Yeah, good point, Joshua. It's probably also makes the point there's Moodle's as an online tool actually is restricted in some ways. It does obviously there's no face-to-face interaction within Moodle. We've had, I'll make this comment, and I've heard it said by a few people. Be interested in your feedback too. Is that students who normally don't collaborate or don't socialise much in a face-to-face environment do in an online environment, and vice versa. those who are highly sociable and face-to-face tend not to talk online as much. I mean, I don't know why that is. I've just heard it commented by various teachers. Sorry, Carrie, is that yes, yes, yes to my comment, or is that to something else? Sure, go, talk. Yeah.
We found that a lot of students are shyer students. We've actually done some research on this in our classes. The kids that are speaking out loud in the classroom, some of them are afraid of what they're saying, that it's going to come out incorrectly, kind of like my text, my words are not coming out correctly today. But some of them, they've told us that they're more comfortable participating in the online class because they're able to write something, they're able to read it, they're able to digest it, they're able to go back and edit it. They can make what they're putting out into the world pristine before it's put out. So they have that reflection time, whereas when you're in class, you can't necessarily stop and think as you're saying something. So I think that that's a big key as to why some of those students, you tend to find your kids who are a little bit more timid, not speaking in class, but they are very vocal online.
You know, I'm just thinking that might explain my two kids, actually, who have very different personalities. Yeah, Gareth, I don't know. I've heard rumours about some things, but they're just rumours, so I won't say anything. But you probably know more than me anyway about some of the stuff going on in the Moodle code.
Yeah, hi. I actually bumped into because the project failed, they actually released, I think, the Google Way code to Apache. So you can now download it, use it. So maybe something like that, I'm not sure. It's a really good question, because I think the forums are very good, wikis, workshops, that sort of thing. I mean, perhaps maybe the lesson module could be enhanced so there's more interaction. I'm really not sure. It stumped me, to be honest.
Cool.
I think it's open almost for ideas of what would it, you go into classroom, speak to history teachers, geography teachers, say, what would you like? What is your ideal? Sketch out for me, what would you really love as a new tool? Because I think maybe it just hasn't been invented yet.
Yeah. And I think it's actually, I found a lot of people have been almost apologising for criticising Moodle, but I actually think it's good to be critical and say, how can we improve it? I think we should ever be happy with the product. Should always be asking that question.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a fine line between slagging something off and having positive criticism. So, say, oh, this is really, really bad. But if you say, oh, this is really bad, but if it did this and this, then it'd be really good. Now that's positive. If you keep moaning, saying, oh, this is really bad, oh no, don't like it, and you have nothing to say, then you are whinging.
Yes. Yeah. I actually find the Moodle community is generally quite good at that, actually. Most of the time it's suggestions for improvements on things. We don't quite like how this works. It's good start, but let's move on to this. And,
I mean, I'd certainly say that over 50% of my clap stop it idea have come from people posting on forums asking me, saying, oh, it'd be great if you did this. And then some of them I've done and said, please, I want you to fund me because I'm not really interested. And then some of them I thought, oh, no, I'll add that because I really want to learn how to do that in PHP, so I've done it for free.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. It's also the nature of open source projects, really, isn't it? It tends towards collaboration. It's what it's about. What we're doing now is collaborating, really, just talking about these things and getting ideas. Another thought struck my head when Carrie talked before about wanting to connect to students. There have been quite a few different classes I know of school students, so running Moodle, where there has been a language course, and they've said we want to connect with someone in a different country, and they've been running Moodle, and they've put the students together, to the point where I think it was Art Later in the US, and I forgot who it was in Germany. They actually got their students to go and visit each other. In the end, after about 2 years of doing online talks and improving their language, so the students in Germany improving their English skills, the students in the US improving their German skills. And they ended up going and doing a class visit to each other and staying with them. It was a good example, just collaborating online, and it just grew from that. And that was a long time ago, actually. Probably talking 7, 8 years ago. Very early versions of Moodle. Well, I should find that story, get it down as a Moodle story. I think it was a guy called Art Later. You do a search for him, and I forgot the other teacher's name. It'll come to me. Oh, very cool. So between classes in the US. Yeah. Even that's good though, isn't it? Students who would never see each other across the same town. Yeah.
I mean, could there be like a...
Sorry, go ahead, Gareth. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, sorry about that. Could there be like an inline moderated chat box for, like we're doing now, we're talking, but to engage students who are maybe a bit shy, and we've got the chat box on the screen in a minute, maybe at the end of a lesson, or there should be not like a forum sort of very, very formal, but maybe a flow of a teacher holds an after-school session, and instead of all the students staying in school and they all go home, and they get online and they chat to the teacher, and they have a chat room, which is moderated at a certain time. And I know I used to run catch-up sessions that happened every single night, and I had loads of students. I'd help them with their work. Well, maybe there could be something 7 o'clock at night. Teacher go, you go home, have a dinner, and says, right, I'm on the schedule. An after-school homework, catch-up, help session thing in a little chat box, perhaps.
Yeah, I like it. You're going to have to post that in the Moodle forums now. That's a suggestion.
I'll make a little note.
I was actually thinking I should write this down, but these sessions are recorded, so I'll probably go back and over them all and make some ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like quite a toughy one thing to implement, to pass on maybe to Tim Hunt or someone like that who would be really good at coding such a thing. Or, anyway.
Yep. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I like the idea, Carrie. I think there's all sorts of ideas you could have around that. I guess Moodle being the catalyst for getting it happening, but doing the whole face-to-face thing as well. Let me move on to my next one, number 3. I can't even remember what it is, but it'll pop up. Oh, that's right. Being weird is cool. So, it was one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes with Matt Smith. But anyway, The Lodger, I think it was called. And Peter Davison wearing the celery as a lapel, which they made fun of, I think, in one of the David Tennant episodes. They brought him back. But just thinking about people being themselves also. A lot of I guess it's countering peer pressure to conform to a certain way. And, and how can we help with that online? And that probably comes back to what Carrie said, actually. People who are shy face-to-face can almost be themselves online because there's a certain, I guess, you don't have to see each other. And the interaction a lot of times is asynchronous. Okay. So, and it'd be good to hear what are those issues, Carrie?
We had a very
What's the issues and how did you resolve them, actually? It's probably a good question.
We had a very big problem with kids putting their profile pictures up. I wrote image icons because I'm not functioning. Profile pictures, we had to set a standard. It caused, number one, it started bullying. I'm in New York, so the Rangers versus the Islanders, and they would have their icon being their Rangers, and then after they're done with their educated post, they'd write, Rangers suck, Islanders rule. But that is a very low-level bullying, but it gets taken to the next level outside of the online environment at times. We also had an instance where we had to actually put in a how shall I say this? I can't get the word out, but we had to institute a policy where the picture for especially the females had to be a facial shot only and no downward shots that showed low cut t-shirts. Because that was becoming a sexual kind of thing. And then they were, putting up these exotic faces and different things. So as much as you want to give them that right to be themselves, we also had an issue in the discussion forums where kids were, I cannot believe I had an honor student write a 4-paragraph essay, and every single letter was in a rainbow pattern of colors. And we had to tell them, you have to stick with the standard color or we remove the option for it, because we want them to be unique, but we can't have them making their fonts so big that one post takes up the whole page. So as much as you want them to be unique, you need to draw them back a little and give them some kind of guideline, because otherwise they get carried away. And, the bullying pictures, the sexual images, the text being huge in all different colors, those are all things that make them unique, but you got to be careful with everyone else. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I was just saying what Gareth wrote there, I think, is, for me anyway, again, I think this is a personal opinion, that you have the boundaries. So like what you said about the profile pictures have to be this, but within those boundaries, there's something you can do different things with it. Guidelines on how to write things, because it's about communicating as well. So it makes it easier to communicate. I mean, just being a developer, the coding guidelines for Moodle, just from that perspective, annoying. There's some things I really don't like in them, but we adhere to them because we understand it's communicating, and and so within those guidelines, there's uniqueness about my programming that's different to everyone else's, and so on. And Gareth's would be different. I'm sure if I looked at a lot of his code, I'd actually start finding Gareth-isms in his code. But we stick to the Moodle coding guidelines. So I think there's that issue of boundaries, but within that, trying to give people freedom to be themselves. Yeah, good point, Joshua. There is a big difference between unique and being inappropriate. And part of that's educating them, isn't it? Educating people. And we're all being educated on that.
Yeah, I mean, coming to that point, when I was working in the school and we had a 1.9 site, I realised that it need to be colours. So I actually adapted the one-made theme, and then produced loads of different versions, blues, greens. It was pink. It was a girls' school. So, but I allowed them to choose it. And I also put in a little bit of code at the top where it said good morning, good evening, how are you today, sort of thing, so that each student could pick the colour for their own My Moodle page. When My Moodle was, okay, but at least it was a little bit more personal to them. And also, being a girls' school, I did go on a couple of school trips, and there was one instance where on the coach, and maybe Carrie may realise this, but some of the students were then starting to flash what they had up top to the fellow drivers, which was rather distracting. But I mean, this sort of thing does happen. That's what teenage girls do. So you do need some sort of moderation. I think I also opened up some of the forums and didn't moderate them. And within a few, I think it was chat I allowed within Moodle. And I then had to disable it because some of the chat was getting quite frankly offensive and, disgusting. So I had to put guards on and just leave it down to forums or have moderated forums.
Yeah. Those are some great examples too. I was actually thinking too, I find, and Joshua, I agree with your point there, that the teacher's job is actually educating those things as well. And Marielle, I think you came in at exactly the right moment when Gareth was talking about flashing the bus drivers. I was just thinking, a lot of the thing is also educating teachers within how to write things on a course. So We have a lot of organisations, obviously, but they ask us to come in, and as we train their teachers on how to use Moodle, or facilitators, a lot of it is actually saying, well, look, you might want to put pretty colours, and things in your headings on your course, but there's certain guidelines. You want to keep a consistency across all the different courses as well. So I don't think it's just restricted to students. It's an education that we all go through. Boundaries again, the guidelines, what we can work within. And certainly, Carrie, I agree, the boys are just as bad. I've seen it happen. My father was a bus driver in Auckland in New Zealand, and used to run the school bus routes every now and then, and he had some funny. I was at school, and even I was horrified about some of these private schools, on the top private schools, and he'd tell me about what the students did, and anyway. Yep, I agree, Gary. Yeah, I had someone who the great quote is, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I had someone who said when they first got a word processor, they changed the colour on every letter, and read like a ransom note, different font sizes and different colours, and then they realised it was completely unreadable to everyone else. Yeah, good point, Gareth. And I think there's obviously the My Moodle page, dashboard page, was meant to be that idea, but it kind of got some of the way, but never really all the way. And I think now there's been a lot of talk. I know Martin was hinting towards it, and Ian Doherty mentioned in his keynote as well that we should be making it a lot more personalisable Moodle. Users can decide on how they want to navigate through, how they want it to look, and so on. Again, but within certain boundaries for the organisation as well.
Yeah, I remember Martin saying it was something he really hoped that would take off, never quite did, fell by the wayside, and maybe that's another area again to look at, of how it can be more personal.
I agree. All right, I'm going to move on. Time is slipping away from me. I thought I'd be through this quite fast. Fourth point, Michael learned from Doctor Who. Fish fingers plus custard equals yum. No, you talk great, and I was hoping people would talk and so on. So for those who know Doctor Who, when Matt Smith took over, one of the very first episode was the young Amy Pond meeting with and trying to work out what his taste buds liked, and he ended up with these fish fingers he cooked and dipping them in custard. And I read a quote someone had written online. They said they actually went away and tried it and said it doesn't taste too bad. It's good to try new experiences. And so then my question then was, well, how do we encourage students to encourage people to do new things? How do we do that in an online environment? And I don't know if there's much in this. Maybe it's just that we do push them, we ask the right questions, But I was kind of thinking, is there ways we can set up activities? Do we have examples of where we've had to set something up in the right way to encourage that creative process? And it does come back to one of Martin's 5 laws as well. We learn a lot from the creation process. Yeah, making it fun. Agree, Gareth, that whole gamification. Badges. Honestly, it's been an insight into people's almost personalities, these badges. But, don't know, any thoughts? I imagine for teachers, I know a lot of, sometimes you're just restricted by curriculum, by what you need to get through. And as much as we like to say we don't want to, we don't teach the exams, I know you almost find yourself doing it automatically. Yeah. Yeah, agree, Joshua. And even this iMoot, I guess even this conversation is good, isn't it? Getting new ideas. Yeah. As I said at the start, I think just about every moot, that's the power, and even the face-to-face, the standard Moodle moots, it's not so much the sessions, it's actually networking, and the sessions are great for getting ideas and then talking to those people afterwards and getting their stories. To me, that's the biggest value.
I think it's not necessarily Moodle, but maybe the culture of the organisation that uses Moodle, which will have positive encouragement to you try new things. So if you've got a really negative teaching environment and negative culture within the organisation, then Moodle's not going to help. However, if you have got a really positive and encouraging environment, then Moodle is just going to enhance it. A little bit like in chemistry, how salt, if something's cold, salt will make it colder. If it's something's hot, salt will make it hotter.
Oh, give me a second. Sorry about that. We've got an alarm here that it didn't go off. At about this time every night it resets itself. So Jim just raced off to fix it. Cool. Okay, let me move on. Last point. Yeah, Carrie. So again, I need to catch up with you guys and you and Natalie and see what we can do to help. The iMoot team itself had some ideas as well, so it'd be great to maybe outside of this, see what we can do to help you guys as well. Because I think we're in a much better position to do that this year, based on Big Blue Button and what's happened here. We might have the discussion here at the end then. Why not? Hey, last point. Time can be rewritten. The episode that with the Pandorica, anyway, which is that big box there. And I had to put in the photo of Matt Smith with the mop and the fez. I just thought that was a very funny scene, that one. Anyway, if you don't watch Doctor Who, you need to, just for these funny scenes. But time can be rewritten, and then it got me thinking about what can we do to change what we've done in the past. How can we help people learn from their mistakes? And we've probably already talked about that, which is on the side, I guess, about boundaries and what people have done, with their profile images, and we put guidelines in place and try to educate them. I don't know if is there other ways you guys do it. I mean, I think Moodle, sorry, I'm waffling a bit here, but Moodle, the assignment module is a great example. It's now come to the point where we can do resubmissions, which is a great little feature. Submit something, get feedback, submit it again, and so on.
Shane, can you guys?
Yeah.
I just poured a glass of water on my MacBook Pro. Can you hear me? Or my speakers? I can hear you guys. Is my microphone still working?
Yes, it can.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to talk. And how have you learned from that mistake, Carrie? That's probably the question.
Not to take medication.
Look, I don't know if there's any ideas around that. I just like the idea of, I like the idea of we're always continually learning. One of Martin's things is what's the best education tools? Questions. Always asking questions and asking questions of ourselves. So to me, it's what it's about. Always trying to improve ourselves. And I don't know if there's any more to say about that. If you guys have any thoughts, but. Bad course design. Yeah, do you want to explain a bit about that then, Gareth? That's what you mean.
Sorry, Shane, what did you say?
I was saying, do you want to explain a bit more what you mean by bad course design?
Oh, yeah. The fact that if you can make bad courses and you can make people realise they have bad courses on Moodle, then that makes them then start thinking not only about Moodle, but the design of all their lessons, their resources, the way that they structure things. You know, if their mindset is that I just want to do it quickly, blah blah blah, well maybe it affects other parts of their education and their professional careers, and maybe they need to think about other things as well.
Yeah. And going on with that idea, I've seen some organisations, they have like their Moodle champions in the organisation, and they actually show examples of what they think, what are good courses, what people are really interacting with. And that way, as someone else who might be new to Moodle, you're thinking, gee, you know, I've started up with this kind of very boring structure in Moodle, but how can I improve it as well? So just seeing what other people do can help you almost recognise the mistakes that you're making as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I was an e-learning coordinator, my courses were okay, and I did have Instate Moodle champions, and then the PE department really took it over. They were absolutely brilliant. They came up with these wonderful courses, and I showed them they're absolutely brilliant. So just how someone non-technical can come up with a totally different slant, they're really engaging. It's brilliant at the time. So that was an excellent example for them to show others.
Cool. Just an idea that's that just triggered another thought, slightly off topic. Aaron Metz, some of you might know, he's at the Canadian International School in Hong Kong, and he is in this iMoot, obviously not online now because it's 3 in the morning for him. But at their school, been out there a couple of times, they have what they call their Moodle ambassadors, and they're students. And there's a team of them, and what they've done, they've trained them up in Moodle. And basically, as those students are in different classes, with the teachers know that they're the Moodle ambassadors, and so if the teacher needs to help with Moodle or something online, they know the ambassadors are there to help, and they get them up the front of the class, and they get those students to talk to the other students. And I just love that idea of that we're all teachers and learners, and it doesn't have to be the teacher who knows everything. As I said, they've trained up a team of students who are very interested in it, and they help all the teachers in any classes they're in with anything with Moodle. And when we ran the Hong Kong Moodle Moot, we actually ran it at the school, and those Moodle ambassadors were basically the team that helped us outrun almost everything. They were really good. And we even ran a student panel as part of it. We thought, well, you know what? As educators, quite often we have panels of people who are teachers, but it would be great to hear from the students. And they got up on the stage in front of several hundred people, and they were really good. It was just good, the teachers asking questions. Hey, does this work? These are ideas that we've done. What's worked for you? What hasn't? And just like that idea, anyway. Slightly off topic. All right, if there's not any other comments on this. Cool. All right. For me, anyway, for Moodle, just getting back, some points for me was just allowing resubmitting. I think things like the workshop module, very good. We do the pair assessments, where you can get your pairs to comment on your work and maybe pick up things that they would do differently. And again, I guess it's educating people how to do that in a constructive way, not just picking to pieces something, but also collaboratively, I guess encouraging people. We generally have a rule around here, you can't just abuse something, say you don't like it, you always have to come up with a suggestion of how to improve it. You have to do that if you don't like something. So I think the workshop module is one of those great ones. I think the resubmission things now in the assignment is very good. Yeah. Probably even then students see the history of what they've done in old courses. So some organisations, thinking GAC, Anna Crasser, she just did a presentation actually. Yeah, I like that. I like what you call that, Gary. It's good. Comments. At GAC, who are a client of ours, they do corporate courses for all their staff, but they actually leave them, they have a currency about that, so they have to do these certain courses every year. They let them have access to the past year's courses. And the idea is the content changes in the courses, but they let them have access to the past ones to see how they're changing over time as well, how they're changing their views and so on. I kind of like that idea as well, that the students themselves can see their own history of how they've done the different courses. again, just ideas that may work, may not work in different circumstances. All right, let me move on. I pretty much finished, actually. Oh, I had a number 6, only because I like that. Sonic screwdrivers don't work on wood. The thought was this. Yeah, I must be tired. I'm trying to make analogies that don't really... I saw a paper online, because this was from this episode, that was a library, big library. It was one of David Tennant's last season, but it's when River Song got introduced. Someone wrote a paper going, well, actually they should work on wood, and they explained why. But anyway, but my thought in terms of what we're talking about was this. What can we do if our existing tools don't work in Moodle? And we've already talked about this. You know, there's things outside of Moodle, and we've already been talking about how we can make, we've already been making suggestions about new features in Moodle, and we've kind of already answered this as we've gone through, which is a good thing. Yeah. Well, I might skip on just so I finish this up. Yeah. I'm actually surprised that Gavin Henrik didn't talk more about it this year. He went off to the other topic he did. But LTI, I think, is an awesome tool. But yeah, just that whole being able to integrate with other systems.
What I've seen in the past is not so much with learning, but there's always been an issue with integrating the management information system into Moodle and having the two linked. So automatic course creation, automatic linking of the timetable reporting. And in the UK, there's 2 products called Sims and one's called CMIS. But I mean, the tools for them are very, very expensive. And I wondered always off the top of my head, well, could Moodle diversify into a second product where they made a management information system? And I thought this afternoon, yeah, that would be good, because currently the security of the data within Moodle needs to be tight, so therefore the security of data in the management information system would be tight as well. But not all organisations would need that. So maybe that could be some sort of link between that they have 2 products.
I'm smiling because we've had similar thoughts. It would be a separate product to Moodle. But we should talk.
My past school, I know head of another school, and he's asking, how can I link this system into this system? My timetable, the classes. I went and did some consulting for him and showed him all about grouping and how the teachers had to set all that up and blah, and use grouping column keys. And it was an admin nightmare. And I've tried to persuade him to upgrade to a version of Moodle with cohorts, and he didn't quite get there. And I'm not sure what the state of the play is now, but and the teachers are all balking, thinking, oh no, we have to do this for every single course. This is absolutely bonkers, admin nightmare. Even though it's a relatively small school, 300 students or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it'd be really nice if there was some sort of timetabling reporting, but then it should be separate, because I think you should keep what the learner has as against the admin and what the parents. So the parents should be able to see, but they shouldn't be able to interfere. You've always got to remember that this is the learner's space, and it's their priority.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Definitely should be different systems. But I actually think that's one of the reasons of the success of Moodle too. Martin's been very deliberate about it not being all things for everybody. There's always a lot of pressure on him to expand Moodle out, and he's been very restrictive actually, which is frustrating sometimes, because you think, why can't we have this tool in Moodle? But he's been very good about it. Do that whole Unix philosophy, do one thing and do it well. But his whole whole idea is to integrate, make it easy with the plugins, and where it can, it supports the open, different standards and that. So.
I mean, I can understand where it's coming from because he wants to keep clean, pure, and usable rather than getting an unmanageable, not a mess, but it could get an unmanageable mess.
Yeah. Cool. And Carrie, it's probably the same problem I just said. With the reporting, I know every organisation has different needs for the reporting, and but in terms of our development, we do quite a lot of development here at Pukunui. I'd say almost half of it, probably up to 3/4, is actually writing reports and for other systems, reporting into other systems. It's just because everyone has different reporting needs, and all the information is usually in Moodle. You just need to bring it out in some format and pass it on. It's just Moodle, can't do that for everybody. Yeah, look, honestly, it would be the Moodle partners in the US. There's 3 of them who are remote learner, Moodle rooms, and just because I know the system better, that's all. Okay. Yeah. Look, we can work with you. It's just probably more of a contextual thing, and certainly welcome to always send me an email about it. We do have clients in the US, but it just makes it a bit harder time-wise, time zones, and just not knowing the. There's got to be a slide in that, or a ring, or a presentation. Anyway, it's going to be cheeky say Blackboard's trying to be it. Well, I'll move on. I'll wrap this up. I should have found that. I don't know if you've seen the the Borg cube slide. Someone did a great one of that. So just after Blackboard brought out Moodle rooms, yeah, and that's what. Just for those who don't know, the Borg from Star Trek. Yeah, they did the Black Borg. You will be assimilated. Moving on, last 2 slides I've got here. Further reading, that was about Martin's pedagogy thing. I said there'd be a link to that at the end. He's written a good paper actually, so just about social constructionism, how it applies to Moodle, the different tools in Moodle, why they're in there. It's some good ideas in there about how to use them. The forum is probably one of those underutilized tools. Everyone has one, but they use it more in a social kind of aspect. And so he goes through about how you can do that in more of a kind of critical thinking way. So there's a lot of other ideas in there too. So worth a read, I think. Last slide's about me because it's all about me. You want to connect. So I don't know if there's any other comments. Actually, I should change that SlideShare one because I have not put any new presentations on there for years. So the ones that are on there are really outdated. Kind of embarrassing. I should take them off. So any other comments? You guys want to, like I said, mics are open. Go for it, talk. But there's more people joining me at the end than there was at the beginning. If I had a TARDIS, I could actually go back and, anyway, could have started at the end and gone the other way. Cool. All right. There's no other comments. Let me just say thanks, guys. As I said, it was a very light-hearted presentation. I really didn't have anything deep to share. I just actually enjoy having a talk and getting ideas. It's all right. Thank you guys for joining in. Hey, let's talk about. Yeah, me too. Let's talk about very quickly. We've got to move on to the next session. But what note? That code checker, it's the bane of my life right now as well. Wow. And they put that full stop at the end of just a single line comment. We've actually got our own version I've done. I forked the one at GitHub, and because we don't want a copyright notice on top of our plugins, but we still use the code checker to make sure we adhere to it. Yeah. Just in terms of what we can do with iMoot, everyone here was here said they were interested in that conversation. So Carrie and you and Natalie, I've got your site, Moodle for Educators. Is that the project you were talking about?
Yes, that's the project we're working on. So
So what's the idea with that? Because I missed your session because I had to go facilitate the other one.
So we really want to try and do something, I'm so hesitant to say this because I don't want it to come out the wrong way, but we both feel very strongly that Moodle.org is a fantastic resource. However, it's a fantastic resource for people like you guys. It's not a fantastic resource for teachers. Yes, there is a forum that teachers can post in, but it's intimidating, and oftentimes teachers will go there and they see everyone with their problems more than their successes, and it's overwhelming. So Moodle for Educators is an environment that we want to create where teachers can go to find other teachers to collaborate with and say, I want to do a book talk with somebody who can help me, and we give them a place to work. But not only do we want to do that, we want to foster that environment that we talked about last year and the past 2 years that we never got going with having, right, but having more of coffee clock sessions where, like the conversation we just had before when we were talking about course formats and stuff like that. We want to have people say, you know what, I'm working on a project and I'm having some problems. Anyone could want to jump in and help me. And kind of create more of these informal sessions that we have, and people get together and help each other. Because I'm in the U.S., Natalie's in Australia. When I met her was from an iMoot. I went to ISTE. I presented at ISTE for almost every year in the past couple of years, and I still remember being there at 2 o'clock in the morning. She posted something to me. I was like, I can't even do this anymore. I'm presenting tomorrow morning at 8. I'm frustrated. I can't get it to work. I give up. Whatever happens, happens. And she said to me, give me admin rights and I'll fix it. I went to sleep. I woke up and it was fixed for my presentation through someone I met here. So to me, these relationships are so valuable. And I think that's why I created the Facebook group last year. Because when iMoot's over, I don't want it to be over. So we want to kind of foster something where maybe we can get people on a monthly basis, do a coffee session on a monthly basis, or if let teachers showcase some of their best work, and other and foster that kind of environment, kind of create segmented areas, one for people who are working on themes and that want to help each other, one that for people who are working in course layout, for non-technical administrators. We want to kind of create something similar to the Moodle.org, but without the coding. There could be an area for coding, but we don't want to take away from Moodle.org. We just want to give something to the non-technical person that they can go to and feel successful at.
Okay.
Then?
Cool. All right. And I think from our point of view, it's so obviously we've been talking about the problems we've had in the past. So for those who don't know, we talked about running a mini iMoot site where we toyed with the idea of monthly meetings, where it's just basically Carrie and Natalie were going to organise it. Behind the scenes, we couldn't get the technology to work, and that was actually the hard. That was the hard part about us doing it. But this year, playing with Big Blue Button, it's come a long way, and we've actually been using it in our organisation probably the past 6 months. We found it much easier to set up, and so this was the big test case, was actually this iMoot, and it's come through well. And so we've just been talking the past 24 hours. We're probably going to set up next year's site now, get it ready to go, and but then we thought about, there's a lot of people who have been asking us, can we run the iMoot, not wait a year? So we're thinking about running another one in 6 months, but then between that, we'd like to keep the momentum going. And so, to me, a mini iMoot site would actually be like just a global user group, really. It's just getting together. And so I can see that. I don't think that replaces what you're doing with your one. I think that would probably just go alongside it. And so you could run these kind of meetings in these conference rooms, but then you'd have your resources which would be more asynchronous. Yeah.
I think that would be fantastic. That was actually one of the reasons I had this idea a couple of years ago and never got it off the ground. I bought the domain God knows how long ago. And that's why we brought up the idea the last 2 years about the mini iMoots. Remember, me and Natalie are the ones who brought that up to you guys. And if we could find a way to connect, I have access to an Adobe Connect room that I can use on occasion. But I don't know, we were going to try and contact Fred because I don't have the expertise on running a big blue button server. I don't know how to do that. I don't know where to begin. I'm not a coder. I'm learning how to do a lot, and I've learned from my peers like Natalie and from you guys, and that's why I want to be able to be more involved in this type of thing and having those kind of user groups. And I think that that's an important way for all of us to expand our own knowledge.
Yeah. Well, behind the scenes, we're happy to support it. So we just had issues setting it up, and that was before we'd met Fred and his team. And we actually we've now set up big blue button servers on our own without Fred. We've just done our own ones. But I think it'd be great to get the Blindside network guys on board if they want. I know Fred's listening in, but I think it's a very doable thing to do, and I think we could actually do it by the end of this iMoot. We could get something up and running. So maybe we'd love your support.
We'd love your support to help us with the teachers as well, because I think that could be really powerful. I think that they can connect nicely together. I'd love to see teachers showcasing their work. They don't do that enough. I don't see as many teachers in here. I have so many teachers who are doing incredible projects, and they deserve an opportunity too.
Yeah. Yep. No, we push for teachers the iMoot. It was actually very heavily, I think Wendy was looking at scheduling. She was really trying to get as many teachers in as possible to showcase stuff. That's actually part of it too. And it's not that we deliberately go out to intimidate, that we try not to. I think a lot of teachers probably undersell themselves, partly too. They don't think they're experts in Moodle, but I don't think it's about being an expert. It's just about sharing your story. And it might come down to personalities of people.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think a lot of the teachers, this is advertised on Moodle.org and stuff like that and through the Facebook group. I think that's part of the reason why I think if we create something that's a community mostly for teachers and user kind of groups, if you get those teachers, like when I do my training and my consulting and I recommend teachers to go to this environment, or Natalie does, or you do, whoever does it, and we get teachers in there, I think we may end up being able to have a whole separate track that's a teacher track, because they'll be more comfortable having these kind of conversations, which I don't think a lot of them are right now, because they don't have a way to really pull themselves together to talk to other people.
Yeah. So I'm just reading Maureen's comment in the chat. Yeah, as I said, there is a lot of non-techie sessions in this iMoot. Hopefully this one was, apart from the Doctor Who quotes. Cool. All right. Looks like good things are happening. I better wrap this up because I've got to get to the next session. But yeah, let's do that. I'll try and catch you. I'll try and catch you via email. Maybe I'll just let me do the opposite. Actually, let me say anyone who's interested, just send me an email. Let me use this email. I'll put it in the chat. There you go. And if you want me to CC you in the conversation. Just about what we can do. I mean, so I don't want to take away from what Carrie and Natalie are doing. I don't think we're competing. I'm just talking about running those, getting an iMoot site set up so that we can, I guess, support this, exactly what we're doing here at iMoot, but on a smaller scale and making it more community driven. We don't want to drive it or organise sessions. It's actually something we just want to provide the platform and hand over to a group of people and say, you run with it. So that's the idea that we have, and that's coming out from the discussion, that Carrie and Natalie had with us years ago. So, so I'll leave it at that. If you want to email me, that's fine. Yeah, cool, Gareth. I better go too, actually. So let me just say thank you to everyone, and I'll sign off there.
Shane, maybe after iMoot, we can, you, me, Julian, and Natalie can have a brainstorming session about how we can work together on something, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely fine. Yeah. Yeah. Our main goal will be to get next year's site up and just announce that. And but yeah, as I said, we're thinking about even if we run. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have that conversation.
Okay. All right, I'm going to pop out. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, guys. See ya.
You are currently the only person in this conference.